Well, thank you for
How
asking.
was your weekend?
It was good. It was okay.
How was your
It
weekend?
was okay. it was very okay.
Very okay.
Yes.
Anyhow.
Just that I had a lot to do yesterday, so
yesterday
I couldn't catch enough sleep.
Those things that you had to do yesterday, they were the things you were supposed to do on Friday.
Not at all.
Not at all.
No. These are simply.
Where were you on Friday?
They are simply. Friday, I went straight home, and I went for a walk. And I saw the lovey-dovey things happening in town. You know, I took a walk in my neighborhood.
To go and watch
I wanted to feast my eyes, so I saw some of the joints. People, you know, they decorated the place with all love, red and stuff like that. I was like, oh, okay, enjoy, y'all, have fun. It's important. It's important that you let your head down once in a while. You need it.
I see.
Yeah.
So a lot of people had fun.
Yeah. Hey,
I don't know. For some of us, we slept very, very early.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I did.
What time
on Friday, I slept very early.
Like what time?
After watching Chelsea's match. Chelsea's match started at 8 p.m. And the game ended a few minutes to 10. Okay. So immediately after the game, I just went straight to bed.
Okay.
Yes. So Friday, I don't sleep early. I'm somebody that do not sleep early.
The
earliest I sleep is somewhere around 12.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Friday I went to bed
very early
because I know that Saturday is very packed and all of that. So
Saturday, what was happening on Saturday?
I had a lot of family stuff.
Back to back.
Yeah, back to back. So weekends normally. So my only weekend is Friday after work. That's the only weekend that I enjoy. Apart from that,
and
then Sunday too, I have my usual training regime, usual football stuff. Then when you are back, start planning for work.
Champion
so
back.
This one I was telling you that let's crusade so that we'll have Monday. Work on Monday, push forward. So it will start like 12 there, about 1 or like half day. And you were telling me, no, I should go and sleep where I sleep again. I should think about it again. Emfa. It's true, Emfa.
Anyway, let's talk about press conferences and counter press conferences.
Yes, Nadidi.
So after Attorney General and Minister of Justice Dr. Dominic Akuritinga Ayine addressed the press, many people anticipated that there will be a response from his predecessor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he did not disappoint.
Yes, Godfrey Eboadami, the former Attorney General, did not disappoint on that particular score. So he has been coming out with some responses of a sort. He's been having a counter explanation to give. In fact, responding strongly to some of the things that Dr. Ayine told the Ghanaians. In fact, on Wednesday, Dr. Ayine addressed the media. In fact, I think it was on Tuesday. He addressed the media and gave explanations to why he deems it fit to truncate some of the cases, high political cases that were ongoing in courts. The Sagleme Affordable Housing involving Alhaji Collins Dauda and some others. Ambulance case involving Dr. Kasiel Atuforsin and Jakpa and all. And then Dr. Stephen Kobno Kuku board and all of that. James Jachikwesin and all of that. So he's been speaking. And in fact, some of the things that he's been speaking, some are very interesting stuff that he's been speaking. He notes that one thing that Dr. Ayine talked about was to the effect that in relation to the Unibank and the UT case where Dr. Johnson Pandit Isiama was charges were dropped against him, he made the point that look, there was a memo that he chanced on by by the former Attorney General Godfrey Eboadame, and upon consultation, he deems it fit to act on it to have the charges against him dropped. But Godfrey Eboadame has been denying the existence of such memo. He is saying that if Dr. Ayine thinks that there's such a memo, he's challenging him to produce that memo. But let's hear from Godfrey Eboadame on that particular issue about whether there is a memo or there is no memo.
Ayene's explanation for discontinuing the case against Johnson Pandit Isiama is a memorandum allegedly delivered to my good self by attorneys of the Office of the Attorney General, purportedly as Dr. Ayeni stated, and I quote him, recommended that the charges against him be dropped. End of quote. Let me state for the record that, to the best of my knowledge, no such memorandum exists. No such memorandum exists. I do not recall receiving any such memo from the prosecution's division. I challenge Dr. Ayeni to produce such a memo for the examination of the public, as he has started saying to the public at a press conference conducted by him as a basis for his impugned actions.
So that is Godfrey Yeboadame, the former Attorney General, say that, look, there's no such memo, and the basis of his knowledge, there's no such memo. So Dr. Ayeni should provide that particular memo if indeed he thinks that, or his point that there's such a memo, he should come out with and all of that. That is not all.
Well, but then I think there have been responses
absolutely,
from that. Not necessarily from even Dr. Dominic Ayeni. There are journalists who have put in a request for that memo, and they have copies of those. And so
yes, we understand that there's a mail that has been sent. The hard copy is difficult to trace and all of that. So we are in an interesting time. So we want to see how that will be treated and how that will be dealt with and all of that. But what was clear is that the former Attorney General is saying that there's no. But what is curious also to note is that even he made a point that even if there was such an existence of that memo, it is not a Bible that should be wholly accepted by the Attorney General, because the Attorney General has his own view on matters. So if the prosecution division comes out with a memo, it is not for you to accept that holistically. You have to make a point on all that. So that begs the question. Are you saying there's such a memo? Are you saying that, yes, there is, but I'm not accepting it? Which is which? What exactly are you saying?
I had conflicting accounts in the address. 1 minute he said there was, the other minute it says dissenting opinion on the memo.
Absolutely. There were a few things that raises concerns about how things were handled and all of that, but we'll get to that. But let's also talk to you about the fact that he's making the point that these cases were truncated just so to whitewash the former appointees, and then he's been speaking to that. And so let's hear from Godfrey Yeboadame again on what he thinks the actions of Dr. Dominic Ayeni.
One of the things that Dr. Ayeni indicated was to the effect that prosecution called 7 witnesses to tell their story. Out of the 7, there is no end user, that is the farmer, who testified. Dr. Buni called 10 witnesses. Majority of them are farmers.
I say that in any event, if the Attorney General also the considered view that the sum of $2 million mentioned under the count of misapplying public property should have been $94 million, all he had to do as a good prosecutor, acting in good faith, was to amend the count. The remedy is not a discontinuation of the entire case, especially when that offense of misapplying public property constituted only 1 out of 70 charges filed in the case. What happens to the other 69 charges that Dr. Ayeni does not fault and did not talk about? I say that in any event, if the Attorney General also the considered view that the sum of $2 million mentioned under the count of misapplying public property should have been $94 million, all he had to do as a good prosecutor, acting in good faith, was to amend the count. The remedy is not a discontinuation of the entire case, especially when that offense of misapplying public property constituted only 1 out of 70 charges filed in the case. What happens to the other 69 charges that Dr. Ayeni does not fault and did not talk about?
So that is Godfrey Yeboadame giving out his opinion on what he thinks the actions of Dr. Ayeni it's all about, just to clean the former appointees and all of that. So he has been talking, but that was not
Ibrahim
the only
wants
thing
to make an
that...
intervention.
No, I just want to ask a question.
Ibrahim Al-Hassan, good morning.
Good morning, Nadidi. Hope you're good. Yeah, I wish you a very good week.
And I be walking into the studio with chocolates.
Yes, yeah, we're still in the chocolate business. Yeah,
okay.
We're still.
How was your Valentine's Day?
My chocolate day, my National Chocolate Day was quite amazing. I had members of parliament advising you young people as to how to go about the day.
Okay.
Yeah, we told that now the ladies actually present a list like prospectus, right?
No.
No, the MPs. I'm quoting the MPs.
The baby girls are
That was the message coming from Power.
It's the baby girls.
Because really.
Okay. So we know where the prospectus came from.
It's baby girls.
Yes, and that is creating a lot of strain on relations.
It's the baby girls that is doing. You see them doing their girls and cutting feed and
Those things. And you know what have you. Anyway.
Musala is met some girl I tell them to do.
Yeah, so then
I didn't get what
you do.
So that I reply you.
How do you find out whether you were there when the former AG was shredding documents? Were you there?
Oh.
No, but like, you know, did you cover, when you invited to cover, you know, when they are destroying marijuana and cool, right? They call
You know, in the country of ours, when somebody is doing something and then he wants everybody to see that, yet I don't want you to come and accuse me of it.
Yeah.
You invite the media to follow
Exactly.
But if it's acting in darkness,
Okay.
he will never invite you.
Okay.
Just so to me. But in this world, even whatever you are doing, even in your own space, it will definitely come out.
The director of public prosecution is Obobisa.
Yeah, Mrs. Yvonne Atakra Obobisa.
Yes, you see, it's a name you can never forget. So she's the one who has pointed to the email trail, right?
We don't know.
But who else could it be? Like she's in charge.
No, for now, I've not seen the correspondence that they just talked about. I've not seen the correspondence, but I've heard some social media posts that talk about the fact that some emails are coming out to show that there's existence of such a memo and all of that.
Oh yeah, but that has been made public. That I'm talking about the email trail.
Yes.
So when you send somebody a mail, you copy others, right?
Absolutely.
Great. And so it's actually sometimes not just hard copy.
Yes.
So there is that soft copy evidence of things that had been sent.
So
I would have wished that the former AD had just said that I disagreed with that particular.
Absolutely. So, but let me just guide you on that. So when he made the point that there was no such memo, I thought that upon a second thought, I realized that no. The email could give me out. So let me say, even if there is, it is not binding on the Attorney General.
You could have just started with that.
And in another breath, he said, the new AG is talking about a memo. Did he not see the dissenting opinion there?
On something that doesn't exist.
So
there's a difference between
so where do you stand? There isn't. There is.
Contrary
if
opinion.
there is. So he no.
The inconsistencies were
too many.
Yes.
Especially with, I told when we found out the news became evident that he was going to address the president. We're talking about him when I said he will say it's not there.
Yeah, you mentioned that. You mentioned that.
Our politicians, when they are acting, and it's some way somehow you realize that no, this press conference for me didn't really help us address the matter, the issues in issue, or the matters in the issue and all of that, because some of them I felt, look, for instance, look at the Sagleme affordable housing matter. If you look at the 70 count that Alhaji Collins Dowda and then the 4 others were on, the very first of the count, let me just read it to you. It talks about Alhaji Collins Dowda misapplying the sum of $200 million. And when the AG makes the point that, look,
it cannot be 200 million.
He didn't even say that. The point was that was the charge against him. And the current Attorney General's point was to the effect that, look, if we allow these charges to fester or to go on, it's a waste of time, because at the end, we think that we could not prove it, or we cannot prove that particular charge
that he
against them,
misapplied the 200 million.
The evidence there are not solid. There were a lot of people who acted. Atachi also did a similar thing, but he was left out of it. So why should we waste resources and all of that? Listen to the very first count. Intentionally misapplying public property, contrary to Section 1(2) of the Public Property Protection Act 1977, SMCD 140. And every count, the statement of offense comes with a particulars of offense that tells you what exactly the issue is about. And so, Alhaji Collins Dauda, between February 2014 and December 2016 in Accra, in the Greater Accra region, you intentionally misapplied a sum of $200 million belonging to the government of Ghana by causing a said amount which had been approved by the Parliament of Ghana for the construction of 5,000 housing units to be applied towards the payment of 1,412 housing units under the Saglemi Affordable Housing Unit. So, on the basis of this count, it came out in court during the trial that, look, the sum is $200 million. But we all know that when you are even securing a loan, let's say 1,000 cedis, there are charges on that particular sum. So you will never get 1,000 cedis. Exactly. You get something less than 1,000 cedis. So true. I asked him, on what basis are you charging Alhaji Collins Dauda for misapplying $200 million when we know that charges on the sum is over $1 million? He said he never charged Alhaji Collins Dauda for misapplying $200 million. Okay, but we have the sound here that we want to play in relation to that. So these are some of the inconsistencies that came out from the press conference that he did.
Yeah, before we play this, another one that was related to by Dr. Dominic Ayeni was that if you admit that 1,500 housing units were built, part of the money was spent on that. So do that deduction, and then you deduct the amount of money approved by Atachia, because that question cannot be answered by Collins Dauda.
Absolutely.
Right.
And the argument equally is that when it comes to the current AG's position as well, how about he did the reapplication, the figures he talked about, and then amend the charges?
I've heard that argument. But you see, and I've kept saying this, do you know that these cases in question
are political?
And then they were on the campaign platforms. They were sold to Ghanaians. Because then they say, Ab Initio disagreed with these charges. And they had gone out there to campaign that give us the opportunity to govern. And so these things were part of the messages sold to the media, to the public.
If they won, the cases that we predicted were going to be dropped based on what on the campaign that the IB is talking about. They are the cases that have been dropped.
All of them.
They are the cases that are, and then he made a point about James Jachikwe. You know that Dr. Yene's point was that he's spoken to all the parties involved. He's done wide consultation. And in relation to James Jachikwe, Chachiti Kata says, no, I want to fight the case through the system and exonerate my client. So that is how come that case is still subsisting in court. And the AG makes the point that, yes, once they realize that they don't have any case, then that one they will allow those ones to go through there. But when they realize that their appointees have cases to answer, then they will quickly go.
So the situation was being tried by him, knowing very well that he didn't have a case.
So he's making it. So you see the analogy there. You are saying that now any people know that Jachikwe, there's no case against him, so he will survive in court to allow that one to go. But he didn't know that the Jachikwe charges cannot sit or cannot survive in court. You get the argument that I've been made. A quite interesting outcome that came from that particular press conference.
It's a good exercise as a media person, but I think it was hurriedly put together, and it was evidently clear that I think Governor could have done with an interview, to be honest with you.
Oh, he could have done the presser all right, but they could have invested in better sound. Because at a point it was really difficult to follow him. And you know, it's these things, when the sound is of good quality and the visuals are great,
you can consume whatever.
It helps. It's easier on the eye and easier on the ears as well. And so I would expect that then the subsequent any other press briefings he would want to have, a lot of thought should go into the production of it. And you see, it was just they didn't allow for the media houses to also use their microphones. There was this microphone that was not of the sound quality.
So this is what happened.
A moment, please. If, for instance, they allowed for the media houses to even put their microphones there, you would have seen a difference in sound. And you would notice that everybody will share theirs. And the one with the better sound or one who shares theirs would get a lot of visibility compared to this below par production.
So this is what happened. When the event was about to start,
Yes.
in fact, where the media house, when we got there, that podium that he stood by, that was where we mounted our cameras, our mics, and all of that.
Okay.
Then, few hours when they were anticipating that
It was supposed to start at 10:30. Eventually,
and
started
it
around
almost
11
around
something.
11:30 there,
Yeah.
because where newsroom had started and all of
Yes.
that. So, those who were preparing the supervising the whole thing came and said, "Look, when the AG, former Attorney General, he will have to put his speech
Okay.
on
the table.
On the podium.
on that particular
Okay.
podium. But at that time, the mics have taken over
Yeah.
the whole. So let's make an arrangement so that the speaker, one of the speakers, should be put at a place where, and it was a bad business.
Yeah.
Because he started talking and it was not even going through
The speaker.
the speaker. And so the point is that the Attorney General has been addressing some of these things so he
For
can
so many-
hold his speech
Yeah.
and then deliver. We
Refer
made that
to-
suggestion to them, but they felt that, look, you need to be comfortable. We need to put the speech on whatever the podium, and so we should carry the
Microphone.
mics from
so,
there
yeah.
and then rather put it closer to the
So if you
speaker,
notice,
which was not.
nobody
didn't
has
help.
a good sound.
It
Nobody.
didn't help.
Yeah.
It didn't
Because
help. It was,
they didn't allow for the media outlets to use their mic. Because sometimes you see these things happen, but you would find one media house whose
Yeah.
sound is better
Better.
because
Yeah.
their microphone was
Was
there,
there and then it's
compared to
better.
this one that was
I
used.
think the advice was the wrong one, to be honest. If you're addressing the media and you don't have a proper public address system, the best way you go about it is to have the microphones in front of you.
absolutely.
It's as simple as that. Have the microphones in front of you.
Yeah.
Dominic Ayene, he addressed from the information, the
Yeah.
press center of
And then
the,
their
Information
public
Ministry.
system is better than.
and so they have a proper public address system.
Yes.
Unlike what we witnessed. I think, upon hindsight, those who give the advice will realize that they did the man a great disservice. to be
Yeah,
honest.
and maybe this time around he chose not to go the interview route because
yeah,
he's not in power.
yeah,
And so if it's in a press conference format,
everybody gets something.
everybody gets something and then
My-
it's disseminated widely
Yeah.
My
compared to
understanding-
speaking to one
Yeah,
media
Yes.
outlet.
My understanding is that this whole thing was put together by the former information ministry under
Okay.
the previous administration.
okay, yeah, I think I saw
Ah,
So
so
parties.
it's
they
not
something.
parties,
decided that, look, the way things are going as a government in opposition, we were there and we just left. So let's respond. So it was not something that was coming from the Attorney General himself, but it was something that was discussed, and then as a ministry, let's go out there and respond to the things. Like you mentioned, the whole thing about the sound quality and all of them had took a toll, but it affected the kind of delivery that he made at that particular point in time. So it's been very interesting point of issues that were discussed. If you
Yeah.
look at what Dr. Ayene has said, and a kind of rebuttal or responses that are coming from the former Attorney General. I note one thing that, look, it is just the thin lines. It is only about the thin lines. If you are not too sure about it, you can easily be deceived about some of the
The
things.
things
that
they'll
are
say, and I
used
think
in
I
Sunday
saw
school.
Kofi Bento post, I think over the weekend, where he said that he will not kid himself when he says that this is not politics. The new AG, the decision to withdraw these cases is politics. Same applies to the previous one as well, that he also proceeded with some of these cases because of politics. We've heard people like Bright Simmons, for instance, talk about how the Ato Forcing case should not have gone to court at all. And there was really no case against Ato Forcing, but because of political reasons, it went. So, ultimately, everybody will share their opinions, but last, Ghana
So,
will move on.
It's an interesting days ahead, and we will look forward to what the actions that have been taken, the effects, and then the kind of implication that they will have on things that are having justice delivery as a whole. One of the things that also came to the fore was that the former attorney was questioning why Dr. Yene's there's
General Legal
there's
Counsel.
a petition I did.
yeah,
So it's all about, let's have a banter, let's have a war, let's attack each other and all of that. And remember that when he started to talk, he makes the premise that it is the first time the Attorney General is coming out to come and criticize the former Attorney General and all of it. So I was like, okay. So once you did certain things, you expect that he'll be very quiet and then come and cover up and all of that. So in the coming days, we'll know more of some of these things and how it will be dealt with, and especially what these responses would do to some of the things that were not properly set out and some of the things that probably could have been treated or handled much better.
And the bit about the case before the General Legal Council, though there are many, not many. Bright Timmons, for instance, says that it will be unfair. It was unfair on the former AG's part to reference that, because that case in question is not in relation to his integrity.
Yeah.
It's in relation to comments he made about the election petition and how it was handled, or how the Supreme Court handled it. So this has nothing to do with his person or questioning his integrity. It is a freedom, a right he was exercising. Some way, somehow, politically, those at the helm at the time did not like it and decided to go to the Supreme Court. Because it will not be the first time people have spoken about how maybe the Supreme Court has gone about a particular case or otherwise.
Yes.
But if really they really wanted to it's been how many years? 4 to 5 years?
Yeah.
It's still trending? It's still pending?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
So, Dr. Omikaine is not the only NDC lawyer who had to visit the General Legal Council. There were many of them as well. Those cases ended nowhere. Dr. Omikaine is of interest because it was the Chief Justice himself who made a referral.
Yes.
And if there is any reason to treat it with urgency, that's the reason. That this is coming from the Chief Justice himself. That's just an email.
Yeah. And he
left
on retirement.
And then, anyway, so that is the political aspect of this back and forth, right?
Yeah.
But then again, I think it's a good thing. And I mentioned initially it's a good thing. See, Dominic Ayeni will approach his work having in mind what has just transpired and how Governor carried himself. If that is what will get him to be more meticulous, the nation is better off for it.
Of course.
If that's, and then I've heard many legal brains, some talk about the fact that there were abuses. From where we sit, yes, we projected such complaints. There were people who felt that the coercive arm of government, the power of prosecution, which rests with the Attorney General on behalf of the President, was abused. If that is the case, let it never happen again. That's showing where power lies. See, in the end, we've come to the realization that power ultimately lies with the people. Yes, and I've heard many reference what happened to Victor Salome, and over the weekend it was quite trending.
Yeah.
We don't remind anybody
of their
pain and their grief.
Yeah.
But
if others were treated in a certain way, why should others be given, treated with exception?
Exactly.
And
but within all, it must be within the remits of law. I'm just learning this morning that Richard Japa is the director at the National Security Secretariat now. So that's his official designation.
I'm told it was
and
an official.
He had to take a raid that we all condemn for him to make that public. No.
It's unfortunate. So there are those who are questioning why.
In what capacity?
Why the majority leader apologized if it was authorized. And
yeah. I've heard that too.
And
I've heard that too.
So they need a lot of tidying up. There's so many loose ends. Everybody, I think that there is perhaps I hope that at least by February or by end of March there should be some stability.
Oh yeah.
Because it feels as though there are some loopholes here and then. There are people who are taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because why the raid, if so called? I have not seen the video.
I've seen the videos.
Yeah,
it matches the description of a raid?
Oh yeah, it was a raid.
Okay.
There were weapons and men in uniform. They moved from one point to the other. See, my point is that if you knew the man was not there,
that's the point I was coming to. That
go there?
they said the MPP has told us that he, what's his name? Oforiatta had notified the chief of staff that he was out of the country. And so this is not a communication that national security should not be oblivious of. You understand? Yeah. So if you knew that he was not in town, why go there in that manner? Yeah. Did you put him on notice? You know, it's not the best. So they should tidy it up their loose ends and do better.
The point is, even if you go with the warrants, right? Even if you go with the warrant, to attend, you're going to seize what? Per what John Jenapor detailed in Parliament, his gadgets were seized because he was at home when they came for his laptop, came for his phone, and at the point he even opted to unlock the phone.
He said, "Oh, they've taken to the UK." The politicians don't trust each other. So
see now, and finally on this, there's a lot of anger in the system.
Yeah,
and we understand that. See, the NDC we are seeing today, it's not even the Rawlings NDC. I have to be honest with you. That the NDC we are seeing today has internalized everything that went on for the past 9 years. And they felt the envelope had been pushed a little beyond. So if anybody within attempts doing same and you stand in their way, and that's why Mama Arega is getting a lot of flack. And ordinarily, what's wrong with saying let's bygones be bygones, right? Yeah. What's wrong with saying that, Charlie, you know what, we are sorry. But look at the marauding attack from the rank and file of the party, asking him who sent you. So if exactly, if ever there is a gauge for the new NDC, and I had mentioned this way before the elections, that sometimes not even the president can stand in the way of some of these things, but at least everybody should tone down. You see, things must be done, and if they must be done, they must be done within law. It's as simple as that. The fact that somebody pushed the law a little too stretchy doesn't mean that you should do same. But then again, they'll tell you that no, if they did it, we'll do it.
We did it before, we'll do it again. What will be happening in court today?
Okay, we are not even going to talk what happened in court today. Oliver says he's going back to court. Oliver says he's going back to court
today
for his treason one. Okay.
And the indication is that Justice Mary Mami Kweyezu will be supervising his jury selection.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's expected to select his jurors.
Yeah.
But it has happened before. But in the system, because of these systemic challenges, so they have to redo it again. So today, the court's indication was that at the following from the last court sitting, the court said that today, new jurors will be put in place, and that would mean that Oliver will be selecting his own jurors to try him by way of the treason felony cases that he's before the court.
A quick one. Will it be the very first time a case initiated by the previous administration against a politically exposed person is coming face to face with the same judge? Will it be the first one, or because Collins Auden never went back to court?
Yeah, so
Opuni never went back to court.
They went back to court recently.
Recently,
court, yes.
Okay, great. Can you tell us the atmosphere, the temperature? Because you were there when the same players were in the same arena before the elections. Did you witness any change in aura?
As for that, you see clearly. Let me use the
how even the witnesses.
Let me use the Cocoa Board word as an example. The very first day that the case came to court, and then it was the charges were dropped eventually.
Yeah.
When we came to court, you could see the atmosphere from all the parties that I said, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you used to have a very tense courtroom, but all of a sudden, the atmosphere just changed. The whole atmosphere looks very calm.
Yeah.
There's no tension anywhere. Yeah. Even the interaction within changed.
Yeah. Wow.
And then the James Jachikwesi's own, the aura, the atmosphere changed after the by-elections.
Okay.
So after the by-election, virtually all the drama and everything ceased.
Yeah.
So we were having a normal court session. He comes to court. Sometimes we don't even see the number.
Yeah.
He and his PA and his lawyers walk into the court, and they call the case, sitting. They deal with the issue. Then he's gone. So it has not been. It depends on the issue at hand.
Yeah.
Sagleme, for instance, the day prosecution requested for 2 weeks for direction.
Yeah.
The courtroom was there, and at the point in time, it was as though the people who were brought to court rather have more information than the prosecution. That's
a good one.
So
That's
the prosecution was asking for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For direction from the attorney general.
Yeah.
Then the defense counsel were like, no, we think 2 weeks is not enough for them.
Yeah.
So they should give them more. And the prosecution is saying that we say we need 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Why do you say we need more? We want 2 weeks. We don't need more than 2 weeks.
Yeah. So the
and
defense,
2 days later, the charges were dropped.
Yeah. So the defense had, like you mentioned, had more information than the prosecution. So the defense was more of a prosecution than the prosecution itself. So how about Oliver? Oliver, this will be the first time Oliver is coming face to face with this.
Yes, in relation to this particular case after the election. Okay. And something very interesting happened. So
would it be surprised if we get to the court today and prosecution says we are not interested?
Oh yeah, that's for this one. This one goes without saying. The former president, now the president. I said who plus cool on social media. He said that.
Yeah, he said that. The attorney general has also mentioned that. Quite interestingly, the lawyer for Oliver Barker-Vormawor is now the deputy attorney general. So he posted designated. Yeah. He posted on his social media platform that
Oliver.
No. Just Dr. Jesremsai posted and was like, it was making a reference to Oliver. The case. Unfortunately, the person that I'm defending you now, I'm having to be the one to prosecute you.
You see how interesting it is.
So clearly, it tells you that this is not a matter that will.
No.
And like President Mahama just said, who organizes coup?
On social media.
And then the Attorney General himself has also. But at the press conference, I asked him about that particular case, and he said, look, unfortunately, he has not looked at the docket. That's the time that he was dressed. But he even thanked me for drawing his attention to that particular. So today we hope to see what will happen. But what, per the indication of what is to happen today, as per the last court sitting, is that Oliver will select his jurors. As to whether that will happen, that's the update that we should expect.
He said, I think in his note, congratulations from Starr, he had said that he has lost a lawyer. But then the country has gained a great attorney general.
And Godfrey Dami talking about the lawyers representing the NDC bigwigs in these cases, including Barker-Vormawor is not an NDC bigwig, by of course a person of interest. Let me put it that way. Godfrey Dami is right. So it's either Dominic Ayeni or Eduji Tamakulu who works at the law firm of Dr. Dominic Ayeni, or Dr. Srimsai, who was practicing with Joyce Bawa Muktari at the point, like in the same chambers. So I don't know why we all been hypocritical, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. Kofi Bento says the thing is they're both playing politics. NDC is doing politics. NBP is doing politics. So I mean, just accept it and move on. Really. And so, what did you expect?
Exactly, that was. So, seems all of a sudden.
One of the questions response asked that, so all the plenty cases that were there, can they tell us why these ones are a priority? Exactly. Because see, there are numerous of individuals, there are plenty individuals who are on remand. Some of them for petty crimes.
Exactly.
Some of them, they don't know where their dockets are. They've been in there for 3-4 years. And that's the reason the Justice for All program is there. So why is it that, some agencies not being attached to some of these individuals as well, their cases as well, where they have been in custody without, proper prosecution whatsoever. So the agency we've seen with these politically exposed persons, please extend the same courtesy to the many other petty ones who are in there. Course,
there's a reason why you describe these cases as political cases, right? See, some of these
high-profile political cases.
Some of these petty crimes, the individuals get tried, sometimes even convicted, without the AG having even noticed them. Because that's where the system works proper. When the politicians are not involved, the system works seamlessly. Sometimes to the disadvantage of the ordinary Ghanaian. It's not every docket that goes to the table of the AG. It's not every docket that gets to the table of the AG. That's why there is a department and there is a whole ministry. So I agree that as much as possible, the lawyers for some of these individuals should draw the attention of the system to this.
Okay.
These injustice that has been done, people remanded, everybody forgets about them, and for the crimes they committed, if they were to even to be convicted, they will spend less time in custody than they are doing on remand. But they tell you life is not fair, life is not balanced, and it is what it is.
Yes, and then the issue about Gregory Afoko is also back in court for the retrial, and prosecution safe witness is expected.
You ask him about it, right?
You asked him about that particular one, and it's one case that he talked about the fact that, look, the innocence of an accused person is the fundamental human right of an accused person is very key. So it was the point that I said the last time, if I am lawyers of Gregory Afoko, because prosecution has given indication that they will not oppose to that. And once they are not opposing to that, what will be the reason for a judge not to admit him to bail and all of that? So today, that case is also in court, and we'll see for the first time what will happen under this administration.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You took mine.
So, I mean, left go, left come, right come.
What you gave me was very tiny. Why are you taking all my chocolate?
You gave me the tiny one, and you are taking
I took a very tiny one. I think the same size.
Unbelievable. I like your pencil. We will be glad.
So I had to. So these are some of the cases that we should expect
today.
In court today, yes, yeah.
Talifor Mako is one of them.
Talifor Mako is one of them.
Okay.
And it is highly possible that today might be the last of this case, because at the last time prosecution intended to file a new charge sheet. And my understanding is that it's one of the cases that the Attorney General is looking at it. So nobody should be surprised if the case happens today, and of course charges perhaps are dropped against the accused person or all of that sort of thing.
Okay, so him, but as for the son has been dispatched with.
And then sentenced to the senior correctional center.
Yeah,
it's 6 months. So
I was surprised to see him at the Thanksgiving
the son
ceremony. What was the son doing at the Thanksgiving?
Sorry.
There's a Talifor Mako. I was surprised to have seen him at the NDC's Thanksgiving service.
He's a man of God.
Yeah, he's one of those who actually predicted, prophesied that Baumia was going to win.
Baumia was going to win.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That didn't happen. As for that one, you can predict. If you don't get it, life continues.
Yeah, have you heard from Usu Power late? He's been speaking.
He's been speaking.
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, he's asking whether special prosecutor can go after Akufo-Addo.
Hey!
He's asking.
What's the meaning of this?
But in the end, he said he was joking.
The last time Mr. Johnson was saying that can they waive because some of them is criminal in nature, can they waive it
and then go after
him?
I think it's 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
but that will be in 2028.
Yeah, you can wait.
So he says can they waive it so they go after him for the criminal ones?
Charlie, but Akufo-Addo, what do you do?
Whatever you do, we live to see. So these are some of the cases.
God willing, tomorrow we'll meet again.
Sure. I'll see you midday.
Yeah, sure. I'll be here definitely. Sure. So do take care. Take care of yourself in court.
Sure.
All right. It's a Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM. We'll go for a break.
Let's have breakfast on the Morning Star.